Okay, for step 3, we're actually going to start from the beginning. You should have this adjustment layers practice, a copy of that saved to your practice folder here, your project folder. And I want you to right click and open with Photoshop. By now you should have run Photoshop at least once, so it should be on that list. I showed you how to go and find it otherwise. And of course the first thing we do is turn around and File, Save As, same name, changing it to Photoshop, and save. We're going to duplicate our layer here. You can just call it Map if you like. And I'm going to turn off the background. And now I'm ready to add 2 adjustment layers. Again, they go between your eyes looking down and the map down here. And it's going to change what this looks like without changing the actual pixels. That makes it a non-destructive adjustment. So we're going to go New Adjustment Layer. So Layer, New Adjustment Layer. And the first thing is Levels. Levels will change the black point and the white point of your image. So this is actually a bar graph showing the black pixels on the left-hand side, the perfectly white pixels on the right-hand side, and then all the different brightnesses in between. And you can see in general this image is very light. Most of the pixels are up here in the upper range. And we are going to drag this black point over to the right, and all the pixels that are represented by this bit right here to the left of it are now absolutely black. The further you drag it, the more pixels are turned black. And you can see what happens if I take it too far. General rule of thumb, take this point to where the graph starts to swerve upwards. Now, this one is the white point, and we don't really want to move that one with this image because it's so light that we immediately start to lose detail. So let's leave that one over to the right, or if we do move it, it's just a tiny bit. The midpoint can be left alone, but this is what I like to do. I stop looking at the histogram, this bar graph here, and I just look at my image. And I wiggle it back and forth, and then I just move it until I like what I see. Should see lots of good detail. There are times when I end up exactly at 1.00 again, like I did just then, but that is rare. I'm usually just to the left or just to the right of that. If I click anywhere else, or just on this little arrow here, I can close this up, but here's the layer already. It's good to turn this switch on and off and see the before and after. Sometimes you'll do an image and you don't really see any improvement, so you don't really have to do an adjustment layer for levels. The other adjustment layer that I want to show you is the Layer, New Adjustment Layer for Hue and Saturation. This is the other one that I tend to use, and it has a different set of sliders here. The hue means color, and you can change all the colors in the image at once by dragging it. And if you go too far, of course, it makes the negative. And this is at minus 180 degrees. Think of it as a full 360. So minus 180 and positive 180, you get the exact same color change. What I'm going to ask you to do is not to have crazy colors for the water. As long as the water stays blue, you will get credit for that part of the assignment. So it can be like a turquoise blue, but not green. And it can be a dark blue, but not pink. And certainly not orange or yellow and orange on this side. So pick what color of water that you like. And then you can adjust the saturation. Sometimes you have pictures that don't have very much color in them, and you can boost them up, or they have too much color, and you can bring it down. And this really is starting to be too much color. Do not just ramp it up all the way over to the right because you like things to be very colorful. It really takes away from the image. And for our video, we just want there to be a nice balanced amount of color on there. If you take this all the way to the left, you can see it makes, well, a black and white image. This is what it would look like printed out on a black and white laser printer, let's say. And so what looks like it might be good to put with your poster or whatever other project you have, in a lot of cases you realize, okay, this isn't so good, but down here this does make a nice image. So you can tell what that's going to look like beforehand. There is a much better filter for making a black and white image out of a color one, but that's an easy way to just take all the color out of it. And that's what I'm asking for this assignment, is 2 adjustment layers. Don't put any others on this assignment. You can experiment with them, you can try them out, but this assignment only has a levels adjustment layer and a hue saturation adjustment layer. So that's what I'm looking for. You can file save. I do want to point out there is no "it lost my work." If I try to close Photoshop, it actually tells me that the changes have not been saved. So you'd have to deliberately say no to lose the work that we just did. Let me cancel this and show you that right here is a little asterisk, and that's the indicator that you've done some work and haven't saved it yet. So file and save will work because we've already saved it as one time, so we can just hit even the keyboard shortcut, Control S. Your left hand, as we move along, is going to get used to just reaching up and tapping Control S with that one hand, so you can save it frequently and not end up losing your work if it crashes or anything. So that is the file that you will now turn into this assignment. You can see it's right here, right next to the original JPEG, is the adjustment layers practice file that is going to be added to this assignment from this folder.